Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. And you know what? I have the easiest panel at Origin Summit this year because I've got two gentlemen that don't really need any introduction from me. Founder of Tron, Justin Sun, and of course, S. Wiley, the co-founder of Story. And I'm just going to get right to it. I'm just going to push back a little bit. This beautiful idea of tokenized finance, right? I'm going to start with you, Justin. How far do you think this thing goes? And how much of this is really out of necessity? Or is it just this crypto industry getting creative, looking for new opportunities?
First of all, I think the whole crypto industry today is still under development. There's still lots of work needs to be done to, I think, fulfill its mission and to be a fully completely version. So, for example, let's take Tron as an example today. Even though lots of people is using Tron today to get stablecoin, to get access to financial services, but still, I think today people is complaining how to buy stablecoin, how to manage their accounts, or how to trade with their accounts. There's still like product is hard to use, hard to understand. You had to be a tech guy to get into crypto.
Yes, hard to understand for sure.
Yes. So that's why I think our work, of course, is to develop the product like every day to make easier to use, easier to understand. But still, I think it's a long way to go.
How do we make sure that this industry delivers on that promise? Because you keep talking about banking the unbanked. It sounds like a beautiful idea, but how do we make sure that actually that gets done without just benefiting some tech bros, crypto guys, benefiting from that because they understood a little bit earlier and they got in on the race a little bit earlier?
Yes. First of all, I think the whole crypto industry is full of new technology, right? Even myself, I need to keep learning, keep figuring out because everything is brand new. Most of the things happen in the industry comes out basically a month ago, So for myself, needs to keep learning. Money, they want to be efficient enough, right? They want cheaper transaction, instant settlement. They want higher leverage. So that's something I think we are working on to make sure like every penny on the network is fully leveraged, is fully usable, and with a good risk control too, right? Because if you take too much of the leverage, you may get liquidated or you may lose your funds. So basically, we need to balance between the capital efficiency and at the same time is good risk management.
And just to address this issue of friction, because I feel like we're in this sort of transition period right now, that some people get it, some people just don't get it. Some people are already there. And SY, your message has been that IP is the biggest untapped asset class. But I wonder how much of this is really the technology industry offering solutions when so many of these industries like media, they're not really ready for that. They're not willing to tokenize their IP. Are you getting any pushback, or do you feel like, oh my gosh, this industry really needs a lot more education than I initially thought?
Yeah, I think there are two ways of tokenizing IP. One is actually sharing the economics. That one, I think it really depends on who you ask. So I've been already chatting to a lot of the top creators in Korea, And there's a very pent-up feeling that besides K-pop companies, that most of their IPs is just basically taken away by big streaming platforms. So I think they really, really want other ways of financing their IP. And especially now with the government legalizing and, RWA, really getting behind stablecoin. Now, back in the days, obviously, it's Justin has done an incredible job in pushing the industry forward with an insane amount of stablecoin adoption. But now I think what's great is governments like in Korea, they're actually really pushing stablecoin as a central force. And what that means is that companies like KakaoPay, companies like Naver Pay, they are going to have stablecoin at the back end, and which means everyone has a wallet. They can instantly invest into this kind of IP, tokenized IP. So I think there is this understanding from especially a lot of content creators in Korea, besides the K-pop ones, who have been not successful in terms of protecting their IP. Okay, if I want to create my own IP instead of just relying on the global streaming platforms, I really want to figure out ways to raise financing, and the easiest way is, tokenize it in a way that so many cryptocurrency projects have actually, raised financing and actually have the tokens traded on the crypto exchanges.
And Justin, I feel like this tokenized economy is really this current phase we're in now after this crypto speculation and then sort of trying to get to the next stage. And are you feeling like, okay, there are just too much narrative around this than it actually deserves? And sorry, I don't mean to downplay SY's mission here, but from where you sit, because you're not exactly sitting in that niche part of the market. Do you feel that way?
So first of all, I believe cryptocurrency will become the foundation for future of finance in many ways, right? It's just like we have the Nasdaq today, right? We have New York Stock Exchange. It's actually finance industry is doesn't matter like which company get listed, right? Because anyone will have the need for financing. They will need to raise funds to do what they want, right? As long as they have a good business model, they can build their product on top of everything, basically. I think cryptocurrency is the same. So crypto industry is basically a finance industry, right? It serves the basic foundation for everything. No matter you are IP company, right? You can be a stable coin company. You can be a technology company. Eventually, you will need financial services. So that's my understanding of cryptocurrency. But of course, crypto started with Bitcoin, right? With Litecoin, XRP. Later on we have Tron, Solana, like BNB. But I think it's gonna grow furthermore. As long as the industries keep growing, I believe eventually every industry will embrace crypto.
And I don't want to sound bearish, but I have to bring up risks. I mean, that's what I do. What could go wrong? Because we've got Tron, for example, driving so much volume of that stable coin. Tether driving so much of that volume. Is that a risk that we need to think about in any way?
Yes. So for myself, I think it's two risks, to be honest. First of all is technical risk. Hack is always a problem in our industry, right? So we see, hack news, I would say like every month, but we actually doing way better than 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, I think there's hacking everywhere, right? So but of course, I think security is something you need to keep improving yourself because even Apple, there's lots of loopholes, you can actually, explore. So that's something, I think we need to keep like perfecting ourselves to improve. That's also one of the most important foundation for this whole industry, right? Because cryptocurrency is something, you can just trust the math, trust the algorithm itself. And second thing is, of course, I think leverage is also needs to be cared for. That's the same old story of financial industry, right? When you have too much leverage, and when it's get liquidated, it's gonna be bad. So that's the two main risk I think in our industry. As long as we keep tracking these two problems and make sure it's safe, I think we have a bright future.
What about you, SY? What do you think? What keeps you up at night? I know that you're talking about programmable IP, and I'm very excited about that idea personally, but when even that is sort of based on fiat-pegged tokens, there could be some things that you cannot control, obviously, that could actually sort of show the vulnerability of over-reliance on the dollar. Do you guys talk about that in your team?
Oh, no, I mean, I think, and specifically with IP tokenization, first of all, IP, there's so many aspects to IP. It can be entertainment. We also talked about Poseidon, which is dealing with real-world data. So we have bootstrapped 5 million plus audio submissions with crypto incentives. But for those things, I think what I really worry about in terms of IP tokenization working with big creators is that, I think crypto investors are really used to getting like 1,000x return or 100x return. And a lot of times, content may not deliver. And, and a lot of the creators really rely on their credibility, their brand, their fame. And, where their projects are not able to go through in a real, really successful way, they may get a lot of attack. A lot of, there's an example of in Korea where a famous, creator, I mean, I'm not going to name the name, but IPO the company, and and then IPO the company, and once that he IPO, he was probably the most beloved business person. Once he IPO, he gets attacked every day, right? So it could be a situation where other content creators, once things are getting tokenized, I mean, entrepreneurs, they can swallow the risk of all this volatility, but sometimes the content creators, IP owners are not used to that. So that's something that I worry about sometimes. Yeah.
And when I was first asked to moderate this panel, it didn't really come to me right away. Like, it just didn't make sense. Justin Sun and S.Y. Lee, and then why have me on the panel? I just didn't really connect the dots. And I thought of maybe, because this week we talk a lot about IP meets tokenization. Could Justin, Tron meet story in some way? Because you got scale. S.Y. Lee got some interesting specialization, sort of his own niche. Are you guys talking about business opportunities already without me knowing?
Yes, of course. I think that's why we come to the summit, right? In the first place, and we did like very interested in Korea IPs, and the developments. Korea has been like one of the first country, right, to embrace like crypto, and has a very big markets. Actually, I learned a lot about Korean IP K-pops yesterday by seeing like all different artists and producers, right, to present their work, even though myself is not expert on K-pop, so but I keep learning, and for myself, I think our specialties is focusing on stablecoin payments, financial infrastructure building, and eventually, as I said, I think everybody needs financial services and the infrastructure, and we can totally see, culture plus like financial things. As we have seen, meme coin also very popular in the crypto space. I think that's definitely gonna be something we can do together.
Yeah. So, I think Justin has done so much in terms of adoption with stablecoin, and I think there's so much opportunity in the intersection of IP and finance. And Joe, I mean, and there are so many different types of IP holders which is really interested in tokenization, accessing liquidity, and obviously, Justin's an expert in bootstrapping that and getting that adoption. So we're thinking about ways how we can collaborate on those. It can be co-investment, it can be business development. So we can do it together on those aspects. And also his PerpTex or other types of businesses are, not just on Tron chain. It's across many chains. And also, our protocol can not just deploy it on the IP blockchain, but also can be deployed on other chains to become the programmable IP layer for these chains. So I think there are ways to collaborate, although we have, different chains and so on.
Keep me posted, promise. Okay. Let's talk about regulatory backdrop. And it's interesting because, I know we had a change of president in the US, but the regulatory environment massively changed in the US over the last, how many months has been? Like 10 months? And then now, the conversation seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, that regulatory backdrop for real-world asset, like the tokenization of RWA, is more embracive in Asia, in countries like Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore. Is that what's really happening on the ground? And why do you think that is? Maybe we start with Justin.
Yes, so first of all, we already have the biggest RWA, right, in crypto industry stablecoin, right? So this year, because, Circle going IPO in United States is really get attraction, and I think people is start to talking about, real world assets. It's basically, I think it expand the concept, right, of a stable coin, US dollars to US government debts, to all different government debts, and to debts, and to bonds, to stocks, right, tokenized stocks, to all asset categories, right? So which I believe definitely will have lots of usage. For us, we also recently collaborate with token issuers to try to launch stocks on Tron blockchain as well. And also we are basically looking forward to launching the perpetual swap for stocks too, because I think the combination of two will be very interesting. So overall, I think RWA is a good topic, and it will have lots of adoption because our move to the blockchain for real world assets give you liquidity, give you adoption to the world audience, and also will give you technical support for the financial infrastructure. With very low cost, right, almost zero. So that's why I think in all aspects, our RWA is a good trend, and we are looking forward to collaborate with credible issuers to do it on Tron blockchain too.
What are you feeling in terms of regulators, the conversations you're having with them? Are they very open? Do you have to educate them, convince them?
Yeah, I think at least, in Korea, there is a lot of, especially because of stablecoin. Stablecoin is basically tokenized dollar. it's basically the most prime example of real world asset, like Justin just pointed out. So with that as a backdrop, right? Even that's now getting instituted, right? So that's going to take a little bit of time, to be honest, in Korea, right? And then there have been OTC exchanges where you can actually trade private stocks, like Stock Plus, Seoul Exchange, which is we partner with, right? And then I think once that's, that tokenized one gets really, really in place, and I think there's as second largest crypto trading volume market in the world, just having the trading volume in KRW is going to be massive right away, right? And then on top of that, if you actually start integrating the back end for many of the payment companies, that's going to be big. And as now every single person has a wallet, can you have a situation not only where you're just investing in Tron or IP token, but also can you have a situation where you are investing into your favorite K-pop artist's next album, your favorite projects, and so on and so forth, very, very easily. So I think those discussions will happen a little bit later, right? So even for ARIA protocol, where we tokenize everything from BTS to Blackpink music, we actually carved out Korea as a jurisdiction because it's still not legal completely, right? So I think the dollar, the stablecoin discussion has to be more in place. The RWA exchange, that plan just got actually adopted as a possible step for the cabinet level as an executive order. So it will still take time in Korea as well. Yeah.
Take time, but do you think at some point you could potentially think about Korean won-backed coin?
Yeah, no. I mean that's in the discussion. So it's probably rolling out in the next 1 to 1.5 years, right?
Okay. Justin, do we need to rule out sovereign stable coins?
So first of all, I think which country get onto the blockchain first, they will have the advantage, right? So of course, I think U.S. dollars is ahead of the game, but I think it's never too late for other countries to catching up.
Okay. We've got a few minutes to go, but I really want to get some forward-looking takeaways. I mean, you guys are such heavyweights in the industry. Let's start with Justin. What's next for you? Because I remember, lunch with Warren Buffett. And then you eat that millions of dollars worth of banana off the wall. You go to the space. What's next?
So for me, I'm currently working on a perp DEX called SunPerp. So because I believe this is important for Tron blockchain because it's higher leverage and also decentralized product. So basically, if you have stable coins on Tron, you can get access to exposure to different cryptocurrency instantly. So that's something I think I will work for the next few months. I'm not thinking of any other events.
Come on. Come on.
So yeah, that's real.
Okay. That's why I feel like a lot of us here in this room really got a lot of understanding over the last 2 days from you on what you're working on, the idea of tokenization of intellectual property. But I feel like you're in the know. You know what's happening next. What is the next big thing in this world? Anything that you can share with us? Your next chapter of your journey.
So I think, to be honest, I think there are two parts to what we're doing. I think most of the discussion today were really focused on, entertainment IPs because it's Korea where entertainment IPs are massive. And those are, we're tokenizing a bunch of those IPs and IP RWA or even meme coins. We just launched a ping pong token. which is I think trading at like $80 to $100 million now, right? And then to a bunch of other types of solo leveling meme token and blah blah blah. But not just this IP tokenization or using this IP as an IP Lego. I think what I'm also excited in the futuristic way is, as I already discussed, in my presentation, the next battlefield for AI is not compute or is not models, because if you look at DeepSeek or ChatGPT or Gemini, it's a max 2-3 month difference, and compute is NVIDIA already has all of that, right? So it's all about now getting the best type of data, right? And for us, how do you get those best data? Recently Meta just bought Scale AI. It's kind of they didn't buy it, but they bought like 49% just to go get just bypass the regulation. That company, how they actually get the data is they just hire tens of thousands of people, in Southeast Asian countries. They do a bunch of legal contracts, and they just get, in a digital sweatshop environment, get people to collect and label the data. It's very inefficient, not scalable. But I think because of the kind of the infrastructure, like people like Justin put together, anyone can now contribute their data around the world as an IP. Your data is an IP. Your audio, your voice, your video footage that you doing cooking. All these are really, really important data for audio model, robotics model, and people can get paid back in stablecoin. People can get paid back in our Poseidon points or IP tokens right away. So I think for me, for us, like the very exciting future is not just about this entertainment IP tokenization, your data of everyday voice, everyday work, everyday me cooking or me doing some home errands, all these things. Or I was just talking to a mega big Southeast Asian conglomerate company that has that's doing food processing. All these things in the factory, all the works is data that could be used for industrial robots, right? So I think just like Bitcoin miner, I want to have a situation where there's a data IP miners. They're mining data for their factories, their homes, and then getting tokens in return, and those data being licensed out to AI model companies. So I think for us, what's exciting is in the next few months, because of the nature work we do for these companies, we've signed already some massive household names, but AI company. But we will hopefully be able to share them as we are actually collecting and licensing data at scale. So today was really about kind of just narrative entertainment, K-pop IPs, but IP is so large. It's your real world. Your everyday data is also an IP, right?
We have a minute to go. Tron price prediction from Justin.
Yeah, so first of all, we are doing good. I think in the last 3 years, despite of the markets, we keep going up. I think one of the reason is because I think we are deliver like solid work and we grow with the whole industry together. I think for this year, we deliver lots of product too. For the end of the year, we are delivering perpetual futures. I think we're gonna basically keep on building what we doing. And for the next year, we will wait and see what's the innovations comes out, and we will catch up.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that. I've got the two most storied gentlemen in this business, I would say. Thank you so much for the great conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.